What's up, YouTube? My name is Uncle Smokey, and this is Uncle Smokey Stock Trades. Before I start this video, I would like to say I am not a financial advisor, and this is not financial advice. So please take what I say with a grain of salt and do your own DD. Today we're going to talk about ticker symbol MMAT, Metamaterials Inc. We're going to look at the TA, we're going to go through the options chain, we're of course going to look at Vortex and Fintel. I've got a new site that shows some dark pool activity, really cool stuff, and we're going to go through some DD, and then at the end of the video, my prediction. Okay, so today we opened up the day at $3.46. We had a low of $3.44, which in all honesty, that's just because there was a little bit of selling pressure off the get. No big deal. We hit a high of $4.55, clear up here. Wowzers. And then closed out at $4.13 with a being up 19%, just over 19% on an amazing 40 million in volume, okay? That's freaking outstanding. That's insane amounts of volume. Now, I'm going to tell you this too. This isn't shorts covering. There's some shorts covering. There's going to be some borrowed shares. But there's a lot of organic movement in here. And we're going to get to why I say that here in a little bit. Now, also, we've got a lot of the movement that I like to see. Stair-stepping. So we made a nice big run. We got a little bit oversold for quite a while. We were oversold for, let's see here. That's 9:40. That's 10:15. So almost a half an hour. We stayed oversold. We did a minor retrace and then went again. And notice we retrace back to our very technical levels of support or resistance. So once we bounced off of that a couple of times, we ran. All right, making another good level of support right here once we hit that $4 level, which $4 is a not only technical level, but a psychological level as well. This is where you're going to see a lot of movement, a lot of push, okay? And you'll see that at every dollar level. Anyhow, after we consolidated here for roughly 25 minutes, we made a run, a big run, a good run. Ultimately testing 450, bouncing, coming back for a retracement because, again, we were oversold, okay? Retraced, technical level of support at 420, which, yeah, I got all of the messages. Speaking of which, had a great time with you guys the other night. And then we made another run. We ran all the way up to 455. Now, this is where I want to show you guys where a Fibonacci retracement is going to help us determine what's going to happen next. Once we've seen this peak here, okay, and we started to see it drop, we noticed at this point that it was coming back down. Okay, it wasn't a standard retracement like we've seen here. Okay, it looked a lot like this, only it got crazy. Now, and I will say that this is going to be a lot of shorts. This is going to be a lot of sell-offs, paper hands, things like that. It just ran, 28% right here, I believe. Insane. You had some selling. Okay. But it wasn't a crazy amount. It wasn't people like us that we've been holding for forever. You know what I mean? This is day traders. This is people who just got in it for the pop. They saw that it started running up Monday, Tuesday, probably jumped in on Wednesday and pulled out today. So let's bring up that Fibonacci retracement I was just talking about. Go from the bottom of our run up to the top of our run up. Okay. Now looky here. Fibonacci retracement follows a lot of our key technical supports, okay, right there. Didn't even make a 50% retracement. We lined up almost in line right here where $4 became a steady support, okay. Retraced and bounced and consolidated through the rest of the day. This, to me, is the best. Get your big movement out of the way first, make your retracement, and consolidate for an hour. That's great. This is actually, I think, a little over an hour. Where are we at here? 1,500 to, yeah, we're at 2 hours of consolidation. That's fantastic. Now, I will say in the after hours, yeah, the movement continued. Now, again, this isn't like crazy amounts of volume. This one here, this big green candle, that's only 7,500 in volume. It's not like you're getting massive amounts of volume like you've seen back in here on these green candles, okay? That's 250,000 on the one I'm pointing at now. So that's where I say volume is skewed in the after hours and to always take it with a grain of salt. All right, let's go ahead and move on to the options chain. Pretty amazing day in the options chain. So here's your calls. Here's your amazing calls where the volatility, the implied volatility being low, will bring in a large number of options. Now, yes, calls and puts are still high, but you're still at 90% calls, 10% puts. Almost 80,000 calls today by itself. Organic calls. These are the retail investor, maybe some smaller hedge funds, some smaller brokerages, things like that trade on the open market like we do. That's what this is. This is awesome. So yeah, IV went up a little bit. You better freaking expect it's going to. Went from what, 40 some, 38 something like that, all the way up to 176, 20% day. Yeah. Especially when it went to almost 30% at one point. Now, you'll notice down here, I left this up. This is one of my indicators here, basically just telling you what each level of call that's up and coming is doing, okay? So this is this coming up expiration, okay? It popped and leveled. This is the following expiration. And you're going to notice that the trend is a lot longer. And this is why I say when you buy options, try and go a little bit further out. Because this is what you get when you start getting some organic movement. You get nice, steady options movement. And this is good stuff because as you get past this expiration, this starts to do this, only you're going to be way in the money at that point. Providing, of course, we keep the volatility, we keep the volume, we keep moving forward. Of course, if anything changes going the other direction, all of this information can drastically change. That is the downside to options. The upside to options is you're only risking X amount of dollars. As long as you're willing to lose X amount of dollars, there's really no more risk. All right, we're going to keep pushing on. Let's go on over to Vortex. So, Vortex today. Now, this is the end, Friday. It's Saturday, guys. So, Vortex at the end of Saturday shows Friday only down 1% short interest. They still returned more than they borrowed, but this is practically even, okay? None of these numbers are really lining up to what I'm seeing, especially to this new site I just got. We're going to get to here in a little bit. Speaking of which, I would like to thank Al Trades. I believe that's how he says it, is Al Trades, not All Trades. I was watching his DD video. I'm not all the way through it yet. We already talked about this. I'm super busy all the time. But I started watching a little bit of it. I've actually tossed a couple of comments out to him. And he responded to one of them with this. And he gave me a site. In fact, let's just go ahead and pull it up now. This is chartexchange.com. I really liked what he was showing me on there. So I decided to check it out. We're going to rock this for a little while and see how we like it. But look at that. Dark pool volume, 25 million almost. 24 million of the volume was done on dark pool. Okay, so over half of our volume today was dark pool volume. Yeah, okay, that's insane. And then I'm coming down here. I don't know much about this stuff yet. Here is Fridays, though. So short volume by exchange. Total short volume reported here. I don't know any of this data yet, guys. I know none of it. But I'm going to learn it. But I'm bringing up all of this so you guys can look at it. Because if any of you know what this means, you know me. I want to know too. Educate me. I love to be educated. Leave me comments. Tweet me. Do whatever it is you got to do. Find me on Reddit. Whatever. Okay. So I don't know much about the site, but I do think this is interesting because if you were to add all these numbers up, you're going to get our volume for the day. So obviously it's legit. Now there is some misinformation on here, but it's nothing that you need to worry about. If you were to go all the way back to the beginning of this, where I was at in the very beginning, figuring this site out, you would notice that it says things like 4 employees and stuff like that. Ignore stuff like that. That's just non-updated data. That's all that is, okay? Ignore that stuff. It's irrelevant. It is absolutely irrelevant. Okay, let's move on. Back to Vortex. Utilization. We're still here, but this will update Monday morning. All of this will. It'll all update Monday morning, so don't concentrate too much on this. This was basically the beginning of the day's numbers. Right here, again, I already talked about this, barely went down. Let's scan over here. So I don't have the 27th data yet because that'll update Monday morning. 17 and a half days on loan. According to this, we have 25 million shares on loan, and utilization is at almost 87%. Now remember, this is 85% of the total exchanges reported. This is not every exchange that we utilize in our markets. This is just 85%. So we take it as a gauge, right? Also, I do want to let everybody know that a short squeeze signal was fired. Basically, this is just indicating that there is a lot of technicals that line up to the ability of a short squeeze, and absolutely they are starting to. There's still a few things that need to line up in order for it to be a full-on squeeze. And again, I have stressed my opinion on a squeeze on this stock. I don't want it right now. I'm not ready for it. Nobody's ready for it. This thing needs to get stable at a much higher level. Upper teens, lower 20s. That's where I would love to see it. Now, if we organically move there in the next 2 weeks, cool. This is basically saying your holding day for the squeeze is 28 days. All of us are going to hold a lot longer than that. And also, here's the other thing I want to point out. If this thing does start to squeeze, say this thing starts squeezing in a week or two, and all of a sudden George comes out with this great PR. Say we got a contract, because we did just go to this expo. Say we get a contract. That alone can carry this squeeze into an organic movement. It can change it from being parabolic to back to organic without a major drop. Maybe doing a 50% or less retracement on a squeeze movement with good PR. So always keep that in mind. If this thing starts moving north at an abrupt rate and George comes out with something good, I mean, not just tweeting us back and telling us that, you know, he's got cool tech and he's going to explain it, that's awesome too, but that's not PR. That's just, that's not a press release, that's public relations. A different type of PR. Public relations and press releases are different. All right. I'm done talking about that. All right. Sorry, dogs were barking. Let's go to Fintel. Fintel. So, days to cover is 1.5 days. That just means that's how long it would take for the shorts to exit their position. 1.5 days to cover. Short squeeze score, yes, it has gone up. And of course, we just talked about that with Vortex. They triggered a short squeeze. And again, that's just a lot of data that's compiled together that algorithms calculate and increase your scores. They increase what things look like. Now, as the float of the company starts getting shorted heavier, this will go higher, or everything else will go higher. There's 300,000 shares available to be shorted into the stock, according to a leading prime brokerage. Kenny, kiss my ass. And of course, the short borrow fee rate did come down a bit. And of course, we went up a lot. It's going to come down a lot. Here's our short sale volume data. FINRA accounts for half of the volume. Okay. FINRA volume, short volume ratio. Obviously, they didn't short it that heavily. According to FINRA, this is reported shorting, okay? But I will say that it was probably less than half for sure, even with the stuff that's not reported. Because what happens is when the sentiment of the stock starts shifting and the stock starts trading the way it should, the algorithms start recognizing it as what it really is, and they will let up if it's an actual value play. Okay, so keep that in mind. Algorithmic trading changes with the sentiment of the stock, and the sentiment of our stock has changed once the proper sector, as soon as we were trading in the proper sector. Okay, all of this has come to fruition. All of this has fell into line. It is. I mean, just look at it. Carry on. Of course, no FTD data is updated. And again, I don't concentrate on this information. They can kick this can down the road as long as they want. They can keep pushing it off, moving it around, doing things to just keep making this stuff not matter. Okay, so that's why I don't look at it. I don't pay attention to it. I hope all of you are starting to do the same thing, noticing that FTD data is really pointless. Why do they even give it to us if they can just keep shoving it away? Doesn't matter. And this really, it's kind of, all of this is monotonous stuff. You don't need to see all this every time because it doesn't change every time. But I do it for you just so you can see it. Short sale transactions, wowzers. There was a lot, and of course there was going to be. We did a lot of upwards. So there was call it $2.75 million shorted on Friday for a little over 500,000 shares, 246 transactions. Now remember, this is only transactions of $5,000 or more. You will not find a transaction under that, which that is bogus. We know that. However, again, not all shorting is illegal, and not all shorting is wrong. Sometimes it needs to be shorted. I'll give you an example of that, just so you don't go, what in the hell are you talking about? Right here. Boom. Right here. Kind of needed to be shorted. Every time you see the RSI hot like this, and it for an extended period of time, okay, it needs to be shorted. It got hot. It stayed hot. It needed to be shorted. It got hot. It stayed hot. It needed to be shorted. Okay, but it only needed to be shorted to here. This is where the manipulation took over. Right there. Right there. It didn't need this. Okay, this is the shit we don't like. Okay, shorting is totally legit. It happens every day. It's part of the market. If you didn't have shorting, a stock would just go up and up and up and up and up and up and up. The value of the dollar would go down and down and down and down and down, and we would all live in boxes. So that's that. That explains a little bit of what happened with shorting today and why the volume of the shorts are down a little bit. Still don't understand the dark bull data on the other site, though. How this correlates into all of that. I don't know. Gonna work on it. Buyers. Here we go. So we've got some changes. These are new positions. This one here is Blackstone showing us that they are legitimately shorting the stock. And again, okay, this is legit. They're like, hey, here you go. I'm showing you I'm shorting the stock. Other than that, that's what we had on buyers, sellers. This is just the torch stuff. Look, 50% decrease ownership. No big deal. Okay, so that puts us through all that. There was no real news so far over the weekend. Nothing major. George hasn't come out with anything. Meta hasn't come out with anything. I'm waiting to see something from the expo. I'd like to see some pictures, maybe a small write-up or something. That'd be awesome. If you're listening, George or the Meta team, let's get some pictures, guys. We want to see what happened. Chunk. Now, this was just a little while ago. He tossed this DD out. It is currently 8 o'clock my time. He tossed this out a little over an hour ago. So go check it out. This is on Reddit. James A. Vincent 1 on Twitter. Let's go to the Reddit board. This is his DD here. I haven't read it yet. I haven't read it on Reddit. But I'm going to, and I urge everybody to. This has got a lot to do with the nanotech acquisition and what's going on with them. So, yeah, this is going to be good stuff. I know it is. He does not ever let us down when it comes to his DD. It's always a good read. Okay, so that takes care of all of that. That leaves one thing. This. The prediction. So some of you guys were in on the live stream I did on Friday night. That was a boatload of fun. Rock was there. We had Ray J in the house. Trey Subway Cup. It was awesome. You guys missed it. Whoever missed it, you missed it. But you can check it out because I did leave it up on my channel. You guys can just go ahead and watch it whenever you want. There's a lot of good information in there. We did some bullshitting. We talked about some strains. Yeah, it was cool. It was fun. So as for Monday, and actually I want to say probably for the whole week, I think we're going to stay in full bull. All eyes are on us. But I do want to start with the bearish prediction first. I just want to get it out of the way because it sucks, and I just want to do it. I don't foresee it happening, but if it does, it does. So bearish predictions, basically, you're just going to drop to 4. Okay, we're going to go from the range we're at now in the 420s down to 4 and probably consolidate in that level, maybe making small spikes back up. If for some reason something crazy happens, 380 back down in that level is your 385 is probably going to be your bounce level, which would also follow our retracement. If you notice here at 61%. So yeah, that would be your bear scenario. Okay, but ignore that really because I don't think that's the way we're going to go. I think we're going to go up. All eyes on us. Looks like we're making a little bit of a George W. according to Trey's Trades if it does this, even in the after hours, guys. So after hours and pre-market, I know I say take with a grain of salt. However, if it makes a technical setup, okay, if it does that, then it can still run. All right, so I'm expecting to see that. That's what I'm hoping for. And if it does, we're going to start back out here at 420 from the looks of it. Boom, boom, right? Okay. We'll start right out here, and we'll make an immediate test for 450. All right, well, I would say 440, then 450. You know, bouncing in this area. And then if we can crack 450 to 455, because we know we bounced off that once. That was just a fake out breakout. But if we can crack this and stabilize above it, I see 470 next. Beyond 470, I see 495 to 5. This is going to be a range. And beyond that, we're at 540, 560, and 6 being your next psychological and technical level of resistance. Okay, so those are the levels I'm looking at over the course of the next several days. I only want to see the stock move in anywhere from 5 to 20% increments. I don't want to see it go higher than that because that's indicating it's squeezing, and I don't want people to get the wrong idea. I just want investors to look at the stock and make a wise decision and invest in the long term. Okay, that's what we want ultimately for this stock. We want people to be in it forever. With that being said, I've got nothing else to say. Like, subscribe, do what you got to do, comment below. If I've said anything wrong that you don't like, let me know. If I said anything right that you do like, let me know. Peace.